It's the Brandon Cruz Daily Fantasy Podcast, where I go and look along plays and strategies specifically designed for GPPs. It's a show for people already informed on daily fantasy sports. On this contest operating. If you have any questions, late NASCAR is a super question. Feel free to shoot them away on Twitter, BrandonCruzDFS. Most importantly, take everything you're in with a grain of salt and use your best judgment to make the entries. Additionally, if you have a gambling addiction, that's not my problem. We're looking at Daytona 500. So before we jump right into that, welcome back. If you're just watching for the Cup Series, I'd advise you check out the Xfinity and Truck Series content as well. Before we get to the Daytona 500 and ranking everybody, I would highly advise you to check out the video I made 2 weeks ago looking at the Super Speedway optimal lineups visualized. This is all the last 22-ish, 20-ish Cup Series optimal lineup showing you where those drivers started. And because it's a plate track, we're looking at, positions, not necessarily players, but we break that down. I would also advise you to check out the early look for the Daytona trucks and the Xfinity optimal lineup video that I did with Pierce, where we're talking about the Xfinity series and the Truck series, but we also talk about the Cup series and how it can apply to the Cup series as well. We also Pierce has put out a ton of videos, not only for the duels that did happen yesterday, but he also put out videos related to the Daytona 500, related to the Xfinity Truck series, everything going on here, specifically the Daytona Cup series video. I would highly advise you to check those out as well, so you're not in the comments or anything asking me like, oh, well, you said stack from the back. We're actually stacked from the back as a 4-2, whatever. You get the idea. We're stacking from the back, and really, for all intents and purposes, we're gonna black these guys out real quick, because super speedway racing is just ownership. That's all it is. It's based on ownership. In a race like this, sure, they have the part shortage, and it's so bad, I think all the teams are expecting to tear cars up, to be honest with you. Which, yet again, I told you early January there's going to be parts issues. This next-gen car was not ready. NASCAR said, F you, we're putting it out there and putting these teams in a very tough situation. So hopefully we just tear cars up and then watch chaos happen for the next month and a half. But anyway, I still, the way that I believe that this race is going to go, I believe it's going to be a train, a little choo-choo train, ooh, my voice cracked there, a little choo-choo train, everybody all aboard the Nextel, Winstel Highline machine, and not a lot of passing is going to happen. I think we're going to see one big wreck take out at least 13, 14 guys in this race. Hopefully we'll have more. Hopefully they just start wrecking stuff late in the race, but personally, I'm going to be stacked from the back, and in terms of ownership, or in terms of upside from everybody back here has the same amount of upside. And really, we talked about this a bit on the Truck Series live show, and this is going to be a shorter video, because I will be live Sunday. I'll be live Friday for the Truck Series. If you're watching this on Friday, live for the Xfinity Series and live for the Daytona 500, so you can ask us questions there. But one of the things I brought up was that there's really no bad cars in this event. Now, granted, there are the back markers of the underfunded cars, but when we look and see, we're used to seeing 4 Rick Ware cars that are clearly not up to pace. We're used to seeing the Starcom machine, which was clearly not up to pace. We're used to seeing BJ McLeod, who's still there, but he was probably the best of those cars. Well, now BJ McLeod is the worst car in the series right now in terms of speed, in terms of losing the draft, which I think we're going to see people lose the draft. I think last car in line is at a severe disadvantage this year. But in terms of that, like all the backmarker cars, they're not really as bad as we're used to. So I don't think we're necessarily going to see just a gigantic drop in ownership to those guys, because we would see, Joey Gaze and Josh Bilicki at 1.5, 2% ownerships. I don't think we're going to see anybody that low in this event, but I think we're going to see a lot of the lesser known cars maybe even out to around a 4 to an 8% ownership, but I don't think we're going to see that gigantic dip, because everybody here does have a car that's actually capable of running the full event. Past that, due to how the duels went, we'll move these around. Due to how the duels went, we do have guys starting in the back of the field that are going to be very, very popular. Noah Gregson's going to carry a lot of ownership. Eric Almirola going to carry a lot of ownership. Austin Dillon, Hemrick, Denny Hamlin. And actually, I believe Denny Hamlin will be the highest owned driver here. And so, which scares me, because Hamlin is going to be smart enough to where if there's a wreck early, he's going to be able to take advantage of that. I'm going to play Hamlin. I'm going to be less on the field. I would not be shocked if we see Hamlin near 60% owned in the $25, if not higher. I think he is, quote-unquote, by far the best player with the most upside, because he can go from 30th and win this event. However, in terms of trying to get different, or in terms of anybody can get involved in a wreck at any time, I'm going to probably have around 20% Denny Hamlin. So that's in terms of my rankings. I don't want to have any of the big names. My main drivers that I'm going to be using in this race are going to be Kaz Gralla, David Reagan, Cody Ware, Cole Custer specifically. I love Cole Custer. I love Todd Gilliland. I love Landon Castle, Ty Dillon, Justin Haley. I love these guys here. I'm going to be sprinkling in, obviously, people like Eric Almirola, Daniel Hemrick, but I want to primarily stack on the guys that I don't think are going to carry as much ownership, that are squeezed in between people that will carry ownership. And so when we look specifically at the back of the field, you have Austin Dillon, Noah Gragson, and B.J. McLeod. Who are the people that are not going to be played nearly as much as they should? B.J. McLeod, I'm going to have a good amount of B.J. McLeod. I just said I like Kaz Grala. I like Reagan because I think most people are going to go to Hemrick or Austin Dillon. If you're stacking guys from the back, you're like, okay, well, I'll just put in Hamlin, I'll put in Hemrick, I'll put in Dillon, I'll put in Eric Almirola, then I can move up here and start grabbing people like William Byron or Justin Haley, whatever the case may be. I think Kaz Grala, David Reagan gets left on the wayside. Same thing with Cole Custer. Very similar to the play at the previous Talladega race where it was Anthony Alfredo starting 30th. That's why I like specifically Cole Custer. I think that he's going to carry less ownership than what he should. Same thing with Todd Gilliland. Nearly an identical car, an identical situation to Anthony Alfredo last year at Talladega. I don't think I don't know why I keep saying Eric Almirola. I don't think Todd Gilliland's going to carry as much ownership as he should. If anything, I'm going to be way over the field on Todd Gilliland, Cole Custer, Grala, just guys like this. Outside of that, when we start moving forward, obviously I'm going to at least have 5 to 4 guys 20th on back. And if you have the sheet, you can actually see the distribution of, what positions are optimal, which actually, let me just bring that up for you real quick. I would still highly advise you to check out the video that I made specifically breaking this stuff down, but this is all the optimal lineups for the past, 20-ish races. And when you look at the positions, which you can still see on there. So when we look at, around, let's just take a gander at how many times 30th has been optimal. It's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 times. The 30th place driver has been optimal. Same thing when you look at, where and 30th, who's 30th here? It's Denny Hamlin. Good chance here. When you break these races down, and granted some of these are, like this is Bubba's win. Like I said, I break it down in the video more. But when you look specifically at the races where there was qualifying and it did turn into a wreck fest, the guys or the plays that are usually good plays are the drivers who, yet again, we had qualifying here from the duel. So the drivers starting, 26th to 36th aren't bad drivers. There is no bad car here. The only car that I guess you could argue would be Cody Ware. I understand that. Outside of that, 36th through 26th are stacked full of cars that are going to compete, be competitive, guys that are going to run well. You can even include that even more, say if you want to go down to literally, we'll count the back half of the field from Joey Logano, who's still a good play. He'll be scored from 20th. He's going to be racing up front. He'll start from the rear, but he's going to be scored from 20th. Either way, from Joey Logano back, this is a tremendous player pool to have. I would implore you to have at least 4 to 5 drivers from 20th on back in nearly every single one of your lineups. Personally, I don't think I'm going to have the guts to play anybody above Bubba Wallace. If I was, it's just going to be Eric Jones, Martin Truex Jr., or Tyler Reddick. But Bubba Wallace back is my player pool for that. And in terms of ownership and where I think people are going to go, I think Harvick's going to be popular. I think Byron, Hamlin, Hemrick, Austin Dillon, Eric Almirola, and Noah Gragson are going to be popular. I would try and be underweight on those guys and focus primarily on the gentlemen that I've spoken about in tons of this stuff. So Kaz Grala, David Reagan. I really do like Reagan and Ware. The two Rick Ware cars here. I love them. Compare them or combine them with, Gillen and Custer. I'm very happy with that. Then you can actually, if you do feel like, rostering Hamlin, that's the type of build that I would actually consider using Hamlin and things of that nature. But either way, short video, stacking from the back. These are the guys that I like. And best of luck. Check out the other videos if you want to go into more detail because, look, it's Daytona. Anybody can wreck, anybody can win this race. And I do believe that this race will get incredibly boring to start off. There'll be a little train, and then they're going to get pretty stupid, and hopefully we'll wreck some shit. And hopefully we'll see a flip. I just want to see a car. Let's flip somebody over. Primarily, or preferably, over the catch fence. Into the grandstand. That would be entertaining. We'll catch you guys in the live shows this weekend, and thank you for watching. And yeah, feel free, if you're still here after that, feel free to join the Patreon and support Pierce and I at Patreon. We'll see you guys later.